Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. If you are in the audience listening and you're interested in learning more about supportive communities of like minded individuals for holistic wellness, group coaching, therapy, I've got Laura on the show, and she is the founder of White Sand Self Care, and she empowers people to improve their health, business, and personal relationships through self care so they can have a better quality of life. And she's got a very interesting take. She doesn't do coaching, so I'm really excited to hear her methods building community. And Laura, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, briefly, because I know your journey. Talk about what made you start White Sand Self Care and the work that you do.
Yeah, so I am an Air Force veteran. I lost my husband 20 years ago, and that's when I went into White Sands. I created White Sands Premier Travel, and I went into travel. But when COVID came along and scared the snot out of everybody for traveling, I realized the reason I wanted people to travel was to take better care of themselves. So I created White Sands Self Care because that's really what it's all about. Because I don't care whether you're blue collar, white collar, military, entrepreneur, we are all stuck in one rat race or another. We stop doing what we love to do. We stop taking care of ourselves and we just get caught up in a hamster wheel, rat race, whatever you want to call it. I build communities that are judgment free. They're holistic to let people know that they have other options. And my whole thing is to be the resource that provides them educations, connections, and collaborations because we're all individuals. We're going to relate with different people. And so I love having different people on to share their journey, how they got over their challenges, and how they help others so that we can come together because I think together we can do more.
Yeah. And what I love about is talk about community. And so what types of individuals gravitate or resonate or attract to your community?
Most of my people are all very heart centered, just like I am. We're very like minded. So, all of my guests, and it could be in business, it could be in personal. Mindfulness and self care plays a role in everything because I always tell people if you're off in one area, you are off. They're very heart centered and giving people they're willing to share their journey and their challenges, which not everybody, necessarily wants to talk about or it's difficult for them to talk about. But and they don't look at everyone as their customer. They know we're not always a fit for other people. Really, what it comes down to is I always tell people if my show helps even one person, then I've done my job. And the people that I have on the show have the same type of mindset. We just want to see people be able to be healthier, live a healthier lifestyle than the one that's been ingrained in us, especially if you're in the States.
Yeah, and I love how you reference the rat race. And personally, I just turned off the TV over 20 years ago, and that did wonders. And just all the constant like advertising and comparison it was just ridiculous. And so one thing is talking about is with this building a support network for personal growth and business success. And what tactics and strategies do you use to build community, to foster discussion? You mentioned judgment free and safe to allow people to connect, collaborate, and grow.
Yeah, so I started with, and it's still there, and it's still growing. I have the White Sand Self Care Community Group on Facebook, and I always tell people everything I do is about being that resource education. So I don't look at anything ever as a competition. It's a collaboration. I don't care if there's 10,000 self care coaches in there. We all are trying to help people get to a certain place, and we all have a different perspective and a way of doing it. And so I encourage them to join that community, join that group, let people know who you are and what you do. I don't approve them if they're like all spammy and, oh, you want to make $500. It's not about that. It's about providing solutions for people, giving connections. We're all business people. And in the end of the day, you can't expect them to give all their services for free. Got that. But it's not what that community is for. And that's what I built it there. And I've never had anybody really get out of control or be nasty or all judgy. But if they did, I would be taking care of them because that's not the kind of people we want in that community. There's just no need for it.
Yeah.
I want people to be decent human beings to each other. I don't care. And with my TV show, I have connected with people all over the world. So I have people from all over the world, Australia, UK, Germany, Canada, you name it, they're in there. And I love getting the different perspectives because when you're brought up in a different culture, in a different area, you all have these different perspectives. And I don't judge them. It's going to resonate with somebody. So
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. And one thing that I've learned about is these communities, it's all about fostering engagement and community and collaboration. And building a community is actually is a very difficult thing because you're dealing with people, and it's not like it's like you could easily build a website or a social media channel, or but building a community is completely a beast in and of itself. So um so moving the question on is just for busy professionals, you have practical time efficient self-care routines to help business owners stay energized and productive. What are those?
I would say the biggest one is to set your boundaries. If you're just getting started in business, you have the tendency to say, "Oh my God, I got to answer this email or I got to answer this." It's set time. You have to have time for yourself to reset. I would not pack in meetings. Some people function well that way. I don't, because I also have to take care of household things and stuff. Make a schedule, keep enough gap in between if a meeting runs over that you're not just running into one after another. And next thing you've gone through the whole day and you haven't gone up to the bathroom, you haven't eaten. That is really hard and unhealthy on your system, especially if you're an entrepreneur working from home. But creating those boundaries and making self-care time for you, even if it's just 5 minutes, start somewhere. And I always tell people, I'm like, if you find yourself just really frustrated, just stop whatever you're doing, get up and go walk away. Otherwise, it's like banging your head on a wall. And really, it's one of those things where you move forward faster if you take time to slow down and back up, because it just gives you enough time to reset. Me, I like to go out and walk on the property and enjoy the animals. Go do something you enjoy for a few minutes and get your head off of it. And you'll be amazed, because whatever you are trying to think just pops right back in your head, instead of if you're just sitting there trying to get it done. But there's lots of different things. No is a complete sentence. You don't owe anybody any explanation. If it's something that you feel is not right, doesn't fit, say no.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I just had recent epiphany the other day, is like with so many like worries and doubts, fears, frustrations, and it's just if you step outside of a single word no, or you don't have to, everything is in this life is optional. It's not like you have to do this. So I really love that. The other question I have for you is because you've transitioned from military to civilian entrepreneurship, and a lot of the audience, for example, they went through like a mass layoff or firing, or or just a career change. Like,
Mhm.
they realized being a doctor or lawyer wasn't serving them. How do you guide people through this transition while maintaining well-being?
I would tell people to look at it as a positive. I am happy for people. I've had a guest on my show that was about to hit tenure for teaching. She had 17 years and she dropped it all. Didn't care about the tenure. She didn't have to, but she dropped it all because she does hypnotherapy. She saw the changes that she was able to help people and make a difference. And you can tell she loves it because she lights up. If you are not lighting up inside and out when you're doing something, then you're probably not truly happy doing what you're doing anyway. And everybody always goes into like panic mode. But if you can keep yourself from going into panic mode and saying, okay, if this door closes, then what other opportunities do I have? Because there's always going to be another opportunity. But you got to stay out of the panic, the flight or fight mindset, and go into, there's an opportunity. What can we do with this? Or what can we learn from it? So, yeah, you can get hit with all kinds of things. I did full circle. I grew up an Air Force dependent. I became active duty. I married Air Force, and then I lost my husband 20 years ago. So I did the whole full circle. There's a lot of changes going on in there. And then when you become an entrepreneur, which is why what started me really an entrepreneur, I had dabbled with other things. But when that happened, and I'm like, what? Life is too short to be answering to other people. There are a ton of things out there. Just because it's not a world that you're used to, find someone that does it. Talk to them, pick their brain. Most people I know are willing to share their challenges or struggles and can help you keep from going through some of them pitfalls. But there's other options. Yeah, I know Zoom like really exploded during COVID because everybody's, oh my God, wait a minute, there's this whole other world. We've been doing it for years before that happened. But yeah.
I know businesses that exploded because all the attention went online and like on social media, and just everybody was that was like the place. And so just business, if you were on video or you had a social media, it just exploded. The along the same line of career transitions, a lot of people deal with kind of a couple things. The first thing is this dealing with loved ones or colleagues. They're like, what happened, or are you crazy? You threw away your future. How does one listening to this podcast, how would you address those types of issues that come up during transitions?
You need to just hear them and put some distance between them. You do. You need to surround yourself with like-minded people that have been there. I've known people that have busted their rear ends and then they become really successful, and people may still not necessarily get it or look at it. You can't please everybody. What is important is that you do what you know you feel you're doing is right, and you're making go. If you're happy with what you're doing, it's nobody else's business, really. But yeah, I've had that plenty because people worry about all kinds of things. And I'm like, it's just a whole world that they don't understand. And it's not your job to make them understand. You can't do that. You can possibly show them by example, but sometimes family or not, you have to create some distance and say, and do some soul searching for yourself. When you figure out who you are truly and you know where you want to go, everything else falls into place no matter what they say. You just have to block it out and get your, what I call your tribe. Surround yourself with your tribe of people that are like-minded, that are going to support you.
Yeah.
Because not that you need it, but it's always nice to have someone say, hey, I love what you're doing and keep up the good work. It's always great to have somebody around. You don't have to, but it helps.
Yeah. It reminds me of this great, because I've been reading a lot about the law of attraction. And when you create a void or you remove something, the universe comes in, steps in to fill that void. And if you cultivate like relationships or a mindset around what you're trying to do, that's how you manifest. The other objection people have during career transitions is, here's a couple, is, oh, I failed. I had to transition because I failed, or I had all that schooling, training, education dead, but I threw it all away. I'm a failure. I didn't do XYZ. How do you address that?
Okay, so that is you playing a bad record in your head, probably something you may have been told by either parents or other people that have told you that. You didn't throw it all away. You learned to use it differently. You learned knowledge, you got a degree, and you learned to do it differently. You're not a failure. You had learned lessons. Use it as a lesson learned. And you're only a failure if you keep repeating the same mistake over and over. Okay. Otherwise, it's a lesson learned. We've all made bad investments or gotten involved in groups that we thought, oh, this is it. This is what we're going to do. And then you find out it's not what you thought. You could sit there and worry about it and be all upset about it, but maybe look at what, because I've done that. And I would not have met half the people I would have met had I not been part of that group. So even though it might have been thousands of dollars that I invested, it doesn't matter because it was a lesson. It got me another step in business. I learned what I don't want to do. I learned what I do want to do. And it connected me to a whole new world of people. And when you surround yourself with those like people and you start doing all the drama and the naysayers and all that, those people start to fall away. I had a mentor tell me that one time because I'm like, why do I have all these people? There's all this drama. He goes, it's not them. He goes, it's you. And I'm like, come again? I was like, wait a minute. It's true. Because when you keep letting it in and and I have learned from other people that I am empathic, which is I've always been those people pleaser and helping. So I always took on other people's problems and feelings, and I would feel them very deeply. I had to learn to stop and create those boundaries because it was not serving me. It was hurting me. So, and once I created those, I don't get the drama people because I don't have time for that. I want people that want to make a difference, want to make a change. We're like-minded. Hey, let's go. And they are out there. You just have to make some changes with yourself and you will attract the right people.
Interesting. Furthering the question is, I was talking with another guest and she was talking about, you mentioned the rat race, and she was talking about our consumerist culture and society, more things, what kind of car do you drive, what house, and all this. But there's this trend towards more simplicity and more mindfulness, more minimalism. And she was talking about travel, and you're a certified travel agent, and talk about how travel is a form of self-care and growth, and what is wellness travel and how does that
Oh,
support?
so well, when you start talking wellness travel, you start talking about more peaceful places and like retreats. Because I work with a lot of professionals. A lot of times they hold their own retreats, and they'll make a lot of times they'll make it. This is a no cell phone zone. It's just go off the grid for 3 days because you need to do it. But just taking the simplest of vacations. When you're out there, you're not worried about having to make the bed, make a dinner, whatever. You don't have all that stuff. And you get to go to a different area, have somebody else wait on you for a change, enjoy the scenery, slow down, shut your phone off if you have to, because I've seen some people that are on vacation and they're still like this. And okay, sharing pictures is one thing, but if you're still doing work and you're not paying attention to your family, you're still not getting it. But health wise, it's proven that people have healthier hearts, live longer when they take a week or more of vacation time because you have that time to reset. You're experiencing different cultures and different places. So it helps boost your immune system. And when you stay in your one little world and you don't go out, for one, you're missing out on a whole lot. There's a whole lot you're missing out on. But it's basically the whole mental reset. People that spend vacation time, but they just stay home. Okay, great. But now they're like all doing projects or this, that. They're still got everything else still going through their head. They haven't escaped it truly. Some people can, but not very many. So yeah,
Yeah.
it does the body good to get away and go see different things. And wellness is when you're doing like retreats. A lot of people hold retreats. I've seen water retreats, yoga ones, breathing. There's a lot we have the ability to do. And those that are open-minded and they can connect with nature and outside. There's a whole nother realm to that too. If you're open-minded, there's a lot out there. If you're not, it's a little more of a struggle.
Yeah. How can people find out more about you? And I know you've written books and join your community, connect with you, and reach out to you.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I did publish a chapter in an Achieve Wellness book. It's called Self Care Through Tragedy. Not a way I would recommend discovering your self care, but it was my story. But you can find me either on LinkedIn, Facebook. You put in Laura Cross White Sands. You can find me through my YouTube channel, my Mindful Mondays with Laura Cross TV show, and or my website, White Sands Self Care. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm also on Instagram, but yeah, just message me, become part of the community, or you can even email me at whitesandselfcare@gmail.com. I always love talking to like-minded people. And if there's any of my experience or anything that can help anybody, I am happy to share that with them.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that and keep up the great work.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.